This morning I woke up to the weirdest video I've seen recently, and that was Baby Vogue's video. And the weird part was that, well, first of all, how it was announced to me. It's not like somebody sent me a message and was like, hey, you are in this video, check it out. No, nobody warned me. 4 hours after the publication of the video, I received some weird comments with the entire transcript of the video posted by a very weird account that I guess is from Baby Vogue himself. That was like the whole transcript of the video. So I was reading them, I was like, what? And then there was the link to the video, and I watched the video and I thought, oh, okay. So if everything is working correctly, which hopefully it is, please tell me if it's not. Let's actually first of all see the video to actually understand what happened, and I'll do some live commentary, and then we can actually talk about it, and then I can answer some questions from the chat. So this is the video. By the way, this looks gorgeous. I love the direction of where Gnome is heading. I still think that this whole anime lolly thing is weird. I wouldn't do this personally.
Fluffy, no.
Well, funnily enough, I actually do get comments when I do videos about Gnome saying, oh no, you should talk about KDE Plasma, you're talking too much about Gnome, you're a Gnome fanboy. No, I'm not. It's not like I'm going around doing Reddit posts saying Gnome is so fluffy. Where is it? Disappeared, sorry.
Fluffy.
Yeah, fluffy.
Fluffy gnome.
It's so amazing how Baby Vogue voice is, like, since he uses a synthesized voice, it cannot put like any emphasis on anything he says. So it's like fluffy no. That's not how you would say it. It's like fluffy no.
Rise? Help? Coco seems to be possessed by the fluffy gnome.
Are you sure? In this case, you have to contact Father V.
Father V. Yeah, when I saw this and I saw the I'm feeling lacking, I knew where this was heading. I just knew it. And that's me. By the way, little nice detail. This video is actually called KDE Developer Switches to Gnome, but it was renamed Vatican Pressed Switches to Gnome. Funny enough, I'm absolutely against Vatican Press. I mean, I'm not a big fan, but let's say. Ciao, father. Because I'm Italian, so ciao. Because of course the video is literally Vatican Press switches to Gnome, and I'm supposed to make people switch back to KDE Plasma. Me. Okay, so up until this point it's normal. Now it's not. So this is my picture. You can see it. It's me. Green screen, and this is not my name, but this is my picture. And a lot of people actually thought I was doing a collab. No, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about anything. This is not me. I never wrote these things. I never did this. But I mean, va bene, because of course I'm Italian. Now, it gets weird. Let's just say it gets weird.
But I'm so cute to curse me.
Okay, so basically he went to my Instagram, and so I did like poetry, and actually downloaded a poem, and then posted it as Latin spells. That is me reading poetry.
Puzza di macce nel centro parcheggio e circa un barellaccio, gli accetta anche zeppi di pulci, macello, la pioggia li cela, ma il peggio che c'era, che giuro che c'era, che non ce la fa, che scintilla alla luce del neone, neo papino. Nobile musa le palle, ma ella di sola né nulla la noto, si culla nell'ombra, là sotto l'ombrello.
Ok.
Fluffy plasma, fluffy plasma, fluffy plasma, fluffy plasma, fluffy plasma, fluffy plasma.
Now, okay, so what do I think about this? To put it simply, it's not like I'm against like comparing other Linux YouTuber videos, like at all. I wish I knew, like in theory, if you want to impersonate de facto somebody, you should ask them. You should, because it's not like me and baby Bogwe don't talk. We've talked before, we had discussions, we've talked about, you know, being a YouTubers and stuff, and just ask me. It was so easy. You could have just said, you know, I'm doing this video and I want to insert this part where I talk about you, is it fine? And I would have said, yes, of course, do it. But ask me. This is so weird. And it's not just me, it has also happened to Nick from the Linux Experiment. And whereas me, okay, I can laugh about it, I'm fine, honestly. If he asked me, I would have said yes. Nick seemed much more uncomfortable with the idea, and I understand him. It's not like you can just take somebody's profile picture and start using him and pretending to be him out of the blue in such a YouTube channel, because it is a bit of a controversial channel. So that was uncomfortable. Yeah, I can laugh about it. I laughed and I was like, okay, weird, but it's Baby Ogwe. I know what to expect from him. I mean, you could say I'm overreacting, but it really depends on, because really it's not a big issue for me. I'm more sad about the other people that got dragged into this, just like, you know, Nick from the Linux Experiment. It really seemed very uncomfortable about this, and I think it's very fair that it should have been asked first. And this is an act of disrespect, in my opinion. And if it was the first, okay, it was a mistake and that's it. But it wasn't a mistake. It's the second of this type. He said in the comments that whatever, everybody can't be happy, which is a terrible excuse. And also historically, Baby Vogwe did a lot of very disrespectful things, so it's not like it's the first either in this kind. So I mean, let's laugh about it. It was a funny video, I enjoyed it, but next time ask. He commented on his video using his own video, yeah, that, you know, when I did a reaction video to Nick from the Linux Experiment. When that happened, I asked him first, like seriously, if you go to my channel, let's open it up again, and where is it? Yeah, just give my Wi-Fi like 10 minutes. Nikolov, and that's, what was the name again? Linux Experiment reaction video. This one. Before doing this video, I asked him. I thought it was going to be disrespectful not to. And I even like reused part of his cover, but I made sure to change it enough so it seemed different. You see, 1 month with KDE is from him, then I added the KDE dev racks too, and I also changed the colors of the cover around, and I asked him, in my opinion, that's how you should do this kind of things. That's my take on it. It shouldn't be difficult to ask. No, especially because we talk. Like me and Baby Vogbe, we talk already. It would have taken 5 minutes. Yeah, Void P, this is a live stream. Welcome in. He has done a lot of harm to the GNOME community. He has surely done a lot of harm to the KDE one, I can assure you. There are, sorry, I can't speak today. There are a lot of KDE developers who are like mad at him because sure, he does give criticism. Sometimes it's very fair criticism, but he always makes sure that it's offensive, and disrespectful. Like he tries as hard as he can to make sure that his criticism won't be well seen from the developers. It's always good to give criticism, try to be constructive. He doesn't try. Okay, now I'm talking about Baby Vogwe. I don't know how it's pronounced. Baby Vogwe, I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, trolling, top level trolling. Okay, so yeah, about the once your face is on the internet, it is on the internet for better or worse. Okay, to a certain degree. Like, okay, I can understand the idea of doing a reaction. Okay, that's fair. I can see why you would do a reaction without asking. I can understand that. But this wasn't it. This was like actually impersonal, like using my face and putting some text next to it as if I was saying those text. That's a different thing. That's completely different. So, this was totally a nice discussion. Let's a collaboration should happen between you two in the future, like an interview. But fun fact, I totally agree. I mean, I actually proposed him this before my channel was big enough, and he said something along the lines of maybe in the future. But I have always been open to collaborations with him, and now apparently we do collaborations without asking. Why are you on GNOME? You might want to see the video that I've done called KDE Developer Switches to GNOME. It explains the reasons why I did this. Hello Kristan, feels awesome to catch you here. Hello. So now that we've got some following, I think we can close officially this Baby Vogwe discussion and talk about what you would like to talk with me. Like I can answer some questions. What do you want to know about KDE or KDE Plasma in particular? Of course, keep in mind that I work on certain sides of KDE Plasma, which I know best, some like Wayland. I don't quite know them, but I can try to answer as best as I can all of your questions. And before we get to that, let me actually give a quick shout out to the sponsors of this video. That is nobody. Nobody is doing sponsors. I don't have advertisement. I do have, however, Patreons, because I'm doing this in my free time. I've just had dinner and I should be doing my homework now, but I was bored. And if I'm able to do this on my free time, it is only because I do have some Patreons helping me out with this. So if you want to help me do these videos, but also contribute to KDE Plasma, because I also do that, if you didn't know, then please consider making a donation with the links that are to my right. Let's get to the questions. Will Valve make KDE better? Yes, for sure. It was news some years ago that they had hired a developer to work on KDE Plasma. If I recall correctly, that was Roman, who then eventually split from the KDE project with its own project. He forked KWin to KWin Fast Track. However, they're also helping with developing the products of KDE Plasma for their OS, SteamOS, and there is collaboration and they are helping out. I don't know the details because some of this kind of stuff, is kind of secret, but I do know that some developers that do work with them has previously clearly said that Valve is helping out KDE. So the answer is yes. What is actually coming in KDE 6? What is coming is a rewrite of probably almost all of KDE projects, recent KDE projects from... Okay, so sorry, let me rephrase this. All of the projects of KDE Plasma are being ported from Qt 5 to Qt 6 as a basis. Then there's also a frameworks rewrite, so it's like a KDE Frameworks 6, I think. And it's also a good occasion to change a bit how the APIs and also the theming system work under the hood. So it's a lot of changes that you don't actually see. They're behind the scenes. So KDE 6 will be something that you don't notice. So hopefully nothing breaks, nothing gets broken. But it will actually improve the code quality, the API quality, and hopefully the speed and performance of KDE in general. If you want to see big improvements in KDE Plasma as in features, then you should be looking to what's happening right now for the next KDE Plasma version, which is 5.25, because so much cool stuff is happening. Like my personal tagline for KDE Plasma 5.25 is KDE Plasma 6. Like it's all you wanted from KDE Plasma 6, but it's called KDE Plasma 5.25, right? Not 26, 25. Yeah, 25. When can we expect floating panels? Okay, let me tell you this. I've been working on this for a couple of weeks more, but I've finished my previous merge request and now I'm working full time on the floating panels. And I'm almost dead, like so stressful, because I do have a deadline, which is like 4th, 5th of May. So I have like 1 month, one entire month, and it's going a mess. Like everything I try to do, it gets worse. Like I had a situation where I had a couple of bugs, I try to improve it and it gets worse. And I try to fix it, it gets even worse. So stressful, but hopefully if everything goes correctly, by May 5th I will have the floating panels and they will land and they will be implemented in KDE Plasma 5.25. As I said, everything you wanted from KDE Plasma 6 is in KDE Plasma 5.25. Yeah, next time ask, yeah. Why do you think Valve chose KDE? That's a tough one, especially because I haven't quite collaborated with Valve myself. It seems to me that Valve does really appreciate some features like the ability to have third-party applets or launchers. So as an example, Valve could do their own launcher to make it, I don't know, look like the Steam Deck as an example. It seems to me like they do appreciate this. Technically speaking, I guess they could do this through extension here, but it's not the same thing. Gnome extensions are cool, but KDE Plasma applets are very native and work very well. It's surely just a part of the answer. There is surely more, but I'm not the right person to ask. I'd love to have a Plasma 6 written in Qt6. Yeah, Plasma 6 should be the first release written in Qt6. The UI should be consistent. Wait. Let's take a step back there. Qt6 won't make anything consistent and polished. Like, switching to Qt6 is very much under the hood. We could, technically speaking, switch to Qt6 right now, and you wouldn't see a difference almost, because that's not. However, of course, there's also ongoing work on different areas, but that doesn't mean that it's for KDE Plasma 6. There is a lot of focus on polishing the user experience of KDE Plasma currently, right now, in the KDE Plasma 5. So we don't have to wait for KDE Plasma 6 for this, Do you think Plasma 6 will be more stable compared to Plasma 5? Again, this is not up to the big number to the right of Plasma, but to the minor versions. If we do bug fixes, most of the times they are in dot something versions. Hopefully Plasma 6 is a great occasion to also fix as many things as possible while rewriting the APIs and frameworks, but it's not necessarily that will make KDE Plasma more stable. Hopefully. Would you move to Fedora? Yes, eventually. It's understandable that it cannot happen overnight, yeah. The Energy Efficiency Project. Yeah, shout out to the Energy Efficiency Project. Cool stuff. Hey Nicolo, is it possible to pin widgets in new panels so that widgets will still take its amount of space even when not present? Like global menu, nope. You cannot do that. Especially because how much space would it take? Because global menu, the amount of space that global menu uses depends on the amount of items. I mean, no, not as far as I know. You can use dynamic spacers to kind of get what you want, depending on what you want. Hey Nick, hey why Harrow? What are your thoughts on Gnome's missing thumbnails on File Picker? This thing is old, right? I mean, it's been a lot since I've heard this for years. Honestly, now that you mention it, I have no clue on what's the reason behind it. Can somebody actually in the chat explain to me why we're currently lacking thumbnails in GNOME File Picker? There must be some kind of reason. Maybe some guy on YouTube's idea, KDE would offer the user a selection of present workflows Kind of. That's not really workflows. The word workflow is a bit confusing in its exact meaning. However, what we can offer is layouts. So where is the panel? Is it on the bottom, to the left? What kinds of applets are in the panel? And that is something that is being actively worked upon, and hopefully it will be in, guess what? KDE Plasma 5.25 or 26 if it is delayed. Hopefully 25. Hopefully. You fix a bug, 3 new bugs appear. Yeah, don't tell me. Okay. The new overview effect doesn't run at 144 FPS. Use the old one. As far as I know, the old one is still there. You can use it. The issue is that the new overview effect is in QML, and right now having an effect completely done in QML is not as fast as in completely done in C++. However, the effect, as far as I understood it right now, is actually a mix of QML and C++ to prevent performance issues, but of course you can't satisfy everyone, so it might be slower compared to the old ones. So if you prefer those, you can use them. What is your estimated split between development, YouTube, and everyday life in a week? Just curious. Oh, you don't have to estimate anything. I can actually give you real de facto data, because I actually am a nerd and I record everything. What was the name again? Screen copy. So this is me getting recorded, and let's go to the home screen. On my phone, everything is recorded. So this is my everything. For KDE, let me do this in a more practical way. Let's do a graph. Graphs are nice. Calendar. Let's take the last 60 days as an example. Okay, 2 months, 60 days. Analytics, and there should be a graph here somewhere. Here. So my life is currently 20% study, 90% university, 9% being a Boy Scout leader, 8.6 reading, 8.2 news, 6.4% KDE. My channel is 6%, and then you can see everything else down below. I've got poetry page, everything. Then of course I can tell you how many hours actually these things are, but let's get back to the video. That's enough of an answer. I'm lost in the comments. How many comments? How much time? Okay. How much time do you dedicate to the developing KDE? As before, 8.9% of my time, which sounds slow, but again, I'm doing this in my free time. So if you want me to do this as my full-time job, you've got my Patreon's link in the video description. Right now, it's about 5 hours a week. That's the best I could do. I'm trying to make more, but again, free time. I recently changed back to KDE and Plasma Wayland. It's so stable. Yeah, it's super stable. I was super impressed too, because I used to use X because it was too unstable for me. Now it's perfect. Super happy. Do you know if there are any plans on making any larger changes when switching to Plasma 6? There is the suggestion of a new theming system. Right now, the theming system is the only suggestion on how to things that actually need to be rewritten. How do I say this? It's the only, because KDE Plasma 6 will have large code changes. It's just that you won't see them. Maybe the theming system is right now the only proposal that you will very much see immediately. However, it is important to notice that even though people did say, yes, please, let's do this, nobody is working on it. So, sorry, who knows? How do you create widgets in KDE? There's a whole API. I did a video about this. Go check out how to make applets Nikolov in YouTube. Do you think Gnome's release of libadwaita will impact KDE? Nope. No. I mean, it will partially impact our theming system support of GTK, but that's such a not really KDE as a whole. Do you think KDE needs a better media player? It needs a media player. Like, what do we have? Like Dragon? There are GNOME developers who said it was because of a scalability with current APIs and it was a low urgency thing. Okay, so thank you. I hope that it is resolved. Personally, I think it's, of course, annoying from a user point of view, but I think we can all agree that having thumbnails is more useful than not having them. If it's feasible, I'd like to see it one day. I currently prefer the KDE file picking window to Gnome's. Do you know if anyone works on bugs regarding the volume applet? It doesn't say. I mean, nobody and everybody works on the volume. It's not like anybody works in the volume applet in particular, but there are people working on the KDE applet, volume applet. So try opening a bug report, and if nobody is working on it, it's because nobody has the time. Always remember that most of us are volunteers, so we are trying our best with the time that we have. The file picker is going to use files for the new GNOME. That's pretty good. GTK itself, yeah, okay. Blah, blah, blah. Hello, Yavor. Will KDE 6 come with a new theme and panels look? No. GNOME is indeed progressing really nicely, blah, blah, blah. Can we get screen copy included with KDE Connect? That's also something I asked KDE Connect developers. The issue is that you can only use screen copy if you have USB debugging enabled. And KDE Connect cannot require USB debugging to be enabled. It cannot enable it. It's also technically a security issue, so it's not like we can just do it. Nor we can really ask for users to do it. You could still implement it in case the user already has USB debugging enabled, but nobody has done it. It's always a matter of, all volunteers. If you need a feature, you need to go find the developer and try to pay him. Sadly, that's the truth. What app do I use for time tracking? It's called Focus Timer, Focus Timer, I think. Google Play, let's see. I actually pay for the full version, but the free one is super nice as well. Focus Timer, I don't know. This one, Focus Matter. Not open source, but does the job really well. What's this one? I never saw this one. Yeah. The only reason I don't use Wayland is that X-Wayland, okay. Yeah, I'm not a Wayland expert though. Okay, so I'm all catch up with questions, so you gotta make new ones. What do you want to know about KDE Plasma and KDE in general? Let me open up my statistics. This is the live stream I'm doing. here. Let's give a look to the chat here. Okay. Conky is cute. Cutie is also cute. That was a joke. When coming back to KDE from Gnome, probably, I don't know. Probably with KDE Plasma 5.25, honestly. Probably. So in June. Probably in June. Come on, ask me something. Let's do an AMA to a KDE developer. That sort of stuff. Let me also browse a bit to our KDE for content, since you're not asking me anything. It's not a good time for streaming, I agree, I totally agree. However, I was bored and I just did it. Are you using Ubuntu or Fedora? Ubuntu. I'm still on Ubuntu. Not a question about KDE, but which Linux YouTuber do you watch? What's your favorite? Okay, so I do watch. I don't know. Let me find all of the names correctly. Now, of course, I watch the Linux Experiment, the AS one. I also follow Linux for Everyone. Done a past podcast, nice stuff. Then here's the next one. I was just going to talk about Gardiner Bryant. There's also, which I follow closely, TechHat. TechHat TV, I think it's called. TechHat HD, sorry, not TV. And then I know about the Linux Cast, but I don't actually. Oh, it's live right now. Oh, what a coincidence! What is it streaming?
Dual boot or something?
An interview, nice stuff. Let's say hello. Yeah. So here's a couple of recommendations if you want to see some YouTubers about Linux. I mean, what's your favorite YouTuber in general? Okay, so not just, okay, so it's an Italian one. If it's not related to Linux at all, it's an Italian one. And it's this one, Breaking Italy, which you probably know if you're Italian. If you don't, check it out. If you're not from Italy, then it's not interesting for you, but it's basically news, but done right. I really like this channel, and de facto, this is the only channel I'm a Patreon of. I just like it so much. There's two of them? I thought it was just one. It's two of them. Makes sense. Okay, so that's how they managed to do 7 videos a week. Now that makes sense. Because, you know, doing 7 videos every week is tough. But if it's 2 people, it's doable. Okay, makes sense. I do 5. The Linux Cast is really bad. I don't know. I don't watch it, so no idea. After having tried KDE for about 2 weeks, I'm going back to Gnome. Okay, that's fine. If you're able, please tell me what you didn't like about KDE Plasma. I see that you did. The interface is still very cluttered, especially settings and apps. Yeah, it's being worked upon, so try again KDE Plasma in a couple of years and maybe the situation will have improved. Are you a computer science student working and contributing to open source? I'm actually a mathematics student. I study mathematics and I do open source as a free time side project. What do you think about activities removal in Plasma 6? I personally like the concept of activities, but let's face it, they don't work. They just don't work. So for the amount of options that activities require for working, sadly, I agree with removing them. I would like some kind of alternative to be made, but I don't know. If you don't know a language, YouTube has auto-translate for captions. This is true, however, I don't know how interested are you in Italian politics. I mean, you could auto-translate Italian news so you can see them, but I mean, it's Italian politics. It's not that interesting. Have KDE moved to Bugzilla, by the way? Will GitLab issues are not very user-friendly? Bugzilla is even worse. No, KDE hasn't moved to Bugzilla recently. It has always been, maybe not always, but recently, like in the last years, it's always been Bugzilla. There's talks about moving to GitLab issues, but it's nothing concrete, and it won't probably happen anytime soon. The face of the channel is Matt, the bigger dude, but on the podcast, Tyler is usually there with Matt. Makes sense. What happened to the rest of Cube and the rest of effects that disappeared? So the rest of effects were actually re-implemented by scratch in QML by a developer who has done a pretty good job if you think about it. It literally took those effects and did them again from scratch. That's impressive. However, the feedback wasn't that good, and maybe he didn't feel motivated to do the desktop cube as well. Maybe he wasn't interested in it. So currently, as far as I know, nobody's working on bringing the desktop cube back. If you want to, again, we are volunteers, so the best way is to bridge, I don't know. Is there a branch for KDE 6 already, or how are you going to manage all of the breaking changes? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not following KDE 6 development very closely. There has been a sprint. There is surely some code going around. I don't know if there has been any split yet, code-wise. I mean, some forks. Maybe small ones, but I don't know. Not good big stuff, but eventually, yeah. Newton or Leibniz. How do you pronounce this again? Leibniz. So Leibniz. I mean, better notation. Do you know Michael Tunnell? Ah, yes, I do know him. I don't follow him closely, but I do know him. I see his he commented on one of my videos recently, and I answered him. Yeah, but yeah, I have no reason. I have nothing bad to say about him at all. It's just that I don't follow him much. Are you working? What are you planning to do after to work after university? So right now I'm not working, and if I'm not working, it's only thanks to the Patreons. Currently, I'm able to not have a part-time job thanks to those people. So currently, my plan is to make that list grow, receive some donations hopefully, and actually make this a full-time job by the end of university. I've got 3 years to do this, so let's do it. Is it normal that the volume sometimes changes randomly? No. Will virtual desktops and activity functionalities be merged? Maybe. Who knows? There's talks about this, but right now there's no certainty. I always have an activity for cinema, so the laptop doesn't sleep or black screen while playing movies. I would suggest to do this, you just have to go click on the Power Manager applet and click on the button at the top. It's actually faster to do that compared to switching activities. So just pin the Power Manager applet to the Task Manager, so it's always shown, and when you're watching something, turn on the option at the top of the Power Manager. Do you think that KDE Connect will have option to use another device as a second monitor? Probably not, because it's a mess. I tried to do this. It's just a mess. I was completely unable to correctly set it up. My impression is that especially without USB debugging, it's impossible. Sorry. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's impossible for KDE Connect to do this. Mathematics, preference, algebra, or analysis, or something else. So my ranking goes geometry at the top, then algebra, close call. I also like algebra a lot. And then there is calculus down there, analysis, whatever you call it. Even though calculus is a nice subject and everything, it's not for me. It's just not for me. I still haven't passed calculus 1, and I'm currently studying calculus 3. I'm studying 3 and I haven't passed 1 and 2. Leibniz. I understand simplifying KDE options, but one of the reasons I am on KDE is because of all of the options. Yeah. Do you think there is a risk that options get removed? Well, you know, we need to find, how do you say this? A compromise, sorry. Because as much as we understand that there's lots of users using KDE because of all the options, there is a thing as too much options. Now, it's not like we need to become Gnome, because it's not secret that Gnome has less options compared to KDE Plasma. However, right now KDE Plasma might have too many options, and it's also a matter of correctly reorganizing them. So it won't get worse necessarily. Personally, I would remove some features that are very, very niche, but that doesn't mean that we'll become Gnome. It still makes sense to be different projects. What distro do you use for KDE development? Ubuntu. You pronounced it correctly, thank you, Leibniz. I was saying from Bugzilla, sorry, misread. And okay, so as I was saying, it was asked to move from Bugzilla to GitLab issues. However, there was some resistance. It was proposed to actually use GitLab issues to organize between developers, and that's how we are currently using them, to actually talk about the features to be implemented. And just there are a lot of bugs in Bugzilla, and moving them automatically is not super easy. It's something that can be done, probably with a lot of effort. And now I don't remember the whole discussion by heart, but it was a bit controversial, and right now we are staying on Bugzilla as far as I know. I am working on open source. Yeah, I'm working on open source. Not with a full-time job, but yeah. Unfa crossover episode when Unfa? Will the folder view and the desktop support tags like Dolphin does? I am currently not aware of anybody working on this, so probably no. Do you know Moro Linux? Of course I know Moro Linux. I've also sent him a couple of messages some time ago to thank him for the Jingpad video. And I do sometimes watch some of these videos that are relevant to me, but of course I do know him. I think that having a simple advanced menu would be better. This gets asked at every live stream. The answer is always the same, and that is frequently asked questions, KDE. Nope. KDE, no, it was KDE. Where is it? Somebody fetch the link. My memory is going away from me. Wasn't it frequently asked questions? Or was it like a recurring? Oh my god, my brain is dying. There is a webpage talking about how it's not actually necessarily a good idea to do that. And personally, I do agree with some extent. Usually, simple advanced modes don't quite work on the kind of users that KDE Plasma have, because most of the times, if you're looking on an option and you don't immediately find it, you will just go to advanced regardless of actually how advanced your option is, because you always consider yourself to be an experienced person. It was phrased better on the link that I wanted to showcase, but I don't know, 11 p.m. and my brain doesn't work. If you are from Pisa, se sei nella normale di Pisa, mathematics is hard, I guess. But it's not like it's super easy in Genoa either. By the way, when I talk about calculus 1, 2 like this, keep in mind that all calculus 1 and 2 are different from each other in subjects. So as an example, I see that in different countries, what is calculus 1 and 2 in Italian university is actually just calculus 1, because here calculus 1 takes double the time compared to 2 and 3. But so you always, need to check out what's the actual content of the course. Having too many options will also add to the maintenance overhead. That's true, and also to the bugs, because more moving parts, more bugs. That's necessarily true. I don't know if you're aware of this, but what do you think about the idea of desktops should become platforms with their own official distros? I am aware of this, and I fully agree. I'm 100% for it, and I wish that we stopped saying this dumb thing that KDE Neon is not a distro. As well, if you go to the KDE Neon website, KDE Neon, and you open the website, there's frequently asked questions somewhere, unless they changed the website here. Is this the KDE distro? Yes. I mean, it's not like the only KDE distro, but this is the distro done by KDE. I mean, technically speaking, Kubuntu counts too, so Kubuntu is also a KDE distro, but also this one. Is it a distro? Not quite. Yeah, I fully agree with what you're saying. Better defaults. Thank you, Tassar. As a math student, did you try creative coding? What do you mean by creative coding? Shaders, for example. Do you mean like coding that requires mathematical knowledge? I'm unsure about this. Generally speaking, there are some kind of codings that kind of projects that require some mathematical understandings, and it's always pretty good to try those kind of things out. But the truest of mathematics, the most beautiful parts of mathematics, do not apply to coding, sadly. Ah, yes, Unfa. Yeah, sorry, completely forgot about him. Now that you say it's about, yeah. Let's YouTube him. Yeah, I did watch some of his video. Yeah, sorry, completely forgot about him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good with audio, so, but I mean, I do know him. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Bye. Yeah, everyone should watch Moros Linux video about a ThinkPad with auto translation, because I mean, just so good. You can find it if you go to YouTube and search for Moro Linux ThinkPad. This one. Watch it. We're translating it. What we need is an exam and a certification process the user must do before they accept. Good one. This, you know, like, this is officially becoming the next April Fools of KDE. I'm gonna make this one the next April Fool. It's perfect. It's just perfect. How come Falcon browser doesn't let you watch live streams on YouTube or Twitch? I don't know. Sounds weird. Maybe some not DRM, I think. Oh, thank you. Lesson learned, it was called. Yes. Thank you. It was called Lesson learned. Yes. And you can see basic advanced mods here. Read these 2 paragraphs. I am watching this live stream in Falcon, so it does work. Is this a fluffy stream? Yeah, this is a fluffy stream. Someone should put the whole of GNOME shell in a KDE applet, best of both worlds. I mean, I can't show you because I'm not on KDE, but with a new overview effect in KDE Plasma, we kind of put GNOME into KDE Plasma, so yeah. Are you using much of Google's or other proprietary services? I have gone for OSS alternatives as much as possible too, but I do use proprietary when I think it's a much better product. As an example, I use, let's go with a list, Google Music, YouTube. I mean, I pay for YouTube Premium, so makes sense. It's just a good product. I even make money out of it, so not unexpected, I guess. You use YouTube too, don't lie. New pipe, I guess. What else? I use Google Maps because it's really good. I used open source map, OpenStreetMap in the past. But Google Maps knows my boost times, so that's a win. I use Google Mail because I haven't yet managed to set up correctly my own server mail. I do use a lot Google Photos because its editing capabilities are incredibly stunning. Like, Google Photos is amazing. I cannot stress that enough. I use Google Play. I use Focus Matter, as I've said before. I use Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok because, you know, work reasons, let's say. I publish poetry and that sort of stuff. You know, it's all companies that I know are bad, but this is the world we live in. If I want to communicate with others my poems, the most effective way is to use TikTok and Instagram, sadly. So what else? He approved Pipewire. I think I'm using Pipewire or something. I mean, I don't know. I tried to install Pipewire. I don't know how it went. It would be cool if you had a little, like a podcast type when you can talk with other Linux creatures. Makes sense. I would like to do that when I'm a bit bigger. Right now, I think my channel is not big enough to catch the fishes that I would want to talk to. So in the future, yeah. A third Google Music is that, sorry, I meant YouTube Music, not Google Music. YouTube Music is alive and rocking, kind of. There is a bug since like last week, but yeah, by the way, if you use YouTube Premium, we as we YouTubers get a lot more money compared to just advertisement, so buy YouTube Premium if you can, or, you know, send me a donation. KDE has actually 2+ overview effects. Yes, we've got at least 3. At least. The idea is that the new latest overview effect should kind of replace the older ones. In my opinion, it should replace the old ones without any kind of. But in other developers' opinion, it's not actually a one-to-one replacement, so yeah. Thoughts on Firefox? You've seen the Linux experiment video, I see. For me, on one hand, letting it die is bad, yeah. On the other hand, Mozilla is hurtful for the... I think it's unfair to say that Mozilla is hurtful to the free and open source community. I've seen many people advocating for Mozilla in like talks, conferences that were doing many good things, and Mozilla in general is doing a good thing in talking about privacy in this new world we live in. Of course, they've also done some nasty stuff, which is better covered by other people. I do fully agree that we shouldn't let Firefox die. I think that keeping Firefox alive in the Linux world is 100% worth it, because if we just use Chromium or Chrome, everything is going to become. If we let Firefox die, everything will become Chrome. We will have like Edge, which is actually Chrome under the hood, Chromium, whatever we call it, the web engine behind it. And I don't think that's good, honestly. Maybe it's better to just have one product, but I wish it wasn't controlled by Google. Thanks, Joseph, for using YouTube Premium. You're giving me money. Yeah, it's actually more money. I don't know the exact statistics, but it's more compared to advertisement. Are there any changes you would want to see in Plasma that are too controversial to actually do? I've got a list. Okay, number 1, Windows tab should be remapped to the new overview effect. I don't print this and email it to every single developer of KDE without saying, I've asked you to do this. I'm just kidding, don't. But I feel so strongly about this, but nobody actually lets me do this, sadly. What else? I would remove 10% of KDE options. I would completely... Okay, no, that's not controversial. The one I wanted to say completely reorganizing the theming system, but that's not controversial. We actually want to do that. What else? I would use more blur and transparency. Actually, I changed blur and transparency levels to be higher recently, and it was controversial enough that it took a year just to convince everybody. And what else? It's already a bunch of changes. I would... What else? Controversial. Rounded corners on the bottom of the windows. And generally speaking, a bit more roundness and rounding the bottom of windows. That's too controversial though. For the people that say that you have to use open source, I think that you should get to choose and shouldn't have to use something, but that just... Yeah, no, I mean, generally speaking, personally, I think that it's a good idea to use open source when it's possible and when it makes sense. When it doesn't, it doesn't. I just want to replace Firefox with a servo-based browser. Yeah, but Servo, as far as I know, is not very keen to be embedded into other browsers, sadly. I wish it was. I want to see more Servo browsers too. You're using Edge on Linux and Windows. It's the best battery life browser. Edge on Linux being a battery life browser compared to both Firefox and Gnome. I'm gonna ask you a source for that. I don't believe you on this one, sorry. Publish some benchmarks. Premium is win-win. I don't have to watch ads. Google gives people money. Yeah, but I think we shouldn't forget about the fact that not everybody can afford 10 euros a month for YouTube. So it makes sense, in my opinion, more people should use YouTube Premium compared to right now. At the same time, I know that many people just can't afford it. I mean, before starting up this channel, I couldn't have afforded it. 10 euros a month is a lot for a student, like a younger student, so yeah. I cannot live without a pop shell auto tiling. I feel you. You could try Bismuth. Check out my video on Bismuth, or anybody's video on Bismuth. I forgot about a Linuxer I do follow, a Linux YouTuber I do follow. That is Bernica Explains, and I remember it because they recently published tiling and stacking on GNOME-based distros. I haven't watched it though. I don't know, but yeah, tiling. Yeah, you can change all key bindings, of course. Yeah, this question was about the defaults. I think that by default, meta tab should be the overview. Wouldn't spiked corners be a nice fancy new design feature instead of following the rounded gang? Yeah, personally, I think that not having rounded corners is a good design, is something that can be done. However, it's still too much Windows 10-ish. So if we went for shaped, not rounded corners, we would be copying Linux 10, and that would make into news, and that would be a mess. Yeah, I'll admit I'm also slightly weirded out by Edge on Linux, but I mean, just use whatever you want. Ah, yes, right. YouTube Premium has a different price depending on the country. Here it's 10 in Italy. I prefer using ad blockers and donating to creators over YouTube Premium. That's a way to approach it for sure, and it's surely better than using an ad blocker and not donating, that's for sure. My only doubt about this is the fact that personally I like a lot the idea that when I'm using YouTube Premium, I give money to the YouTubers I watch depending on my watch time, regardless of whether first of all, I actually remember to actually donate to them. Let's make an example. So your name is Quatchcop, and unless I remember it incorrectly or you have different names depending on the app, you never donated to me, which is fine. I don't expect everybody to donate to me. But since you are watching this live stream, the fact that you are spending time watching my live stream will be immediately rewarded to me just because I've managed to get your attention. And YouTube really is about that. It is about getting the attention of the people for as much as possible. That's watch time. And it's a much more automatic process. And generally speaking, I do like how it works. I do like knowing that if I'm watching a video by a YouTuber that I never saw before, and maybe I'm just going to watch one video, but it's really cool, I don't actually have to check it out, see who he is, see if he's got a pattern. It's all automatic, it's all immediate, and it's all depending on actually how much attention of mine he has gotten. If it's a good video, it will get a lot of attention from me. I got a lot of watch time from me, and he'll get rewarded more. So personally, I prefer YouTube Premium, but it's up to you. I mean, really. Might be controversial. What do you think about the drama with Elementary OS? No, I haven't followed it closely, and I wouldn't have any competence to talk about it honestly, because this drama is not about code, it's not about developing a desktop, it's about managing, as far as I understood it, managing a project and misunderstanding between peoples and people getting angry at each other. It's not about software. It's not my. I'm not competent in that. Hello, Fancy 2209. Firefox drain battery a lot faster than Edge. Could be that Firefox does. I think Chrome though, or Chromium, would have the same battery performance. Not sure if somebody... Do you think it would be good if Plasma ditched theming the same way Gnome did via implementing... Okay. Let me give two answers to this one. First answer, it would kill the KDE Plasma project immediately. That's quite radical. It would be a disaster for KDE Plasma, in my opinion, because a lot of KDE Plasma user base is using KDE Plasma because it's customizable and themes and everything. If we killed themes, I think it would be a mess and KDE Plasma as a project would die. However, let me give the second question, which is, let's forget about a second about how it would result in terms of people using KDE Plasma, and let's talk about the project per se. If we ditch theming, I can tell you that KDE Plasma is going to become prettier, faster, much easier to maintain very quickly, because dealing with themes is a mess. Dealing with having to allow the user to install third-party SVGs. Who knows what's in the SVG? We need an SVG viewer and everything. And every time we need to change something, we need to think about all of the possible themes. It's a significant overhead, but the idea is that we think it's worth it. KDE Plasma would get better as the defaults get if we ditch theming, but we do think that keeping theming is worth the effort right now. Yes, there is drama going on at Elementary OS, but I'm not the one that's going to talk about it. Spectacle is amazing. I just have a couple of criticism about the fact that I have to manually kill it, otherwise it keeps on running on the background and notifications don't appear, but okay. My favorite YouTuber sometimes put advertisement on a video and sometimes it does not, and does a sponsored segment. At moments like this, I feel like I'm losing on having YouTube Premium. You mean, okay, I understood it. Let me think about it. It is a fair criticism. Keep in mind though that it is true that you are personally losing on what could be technically if he used the YouTube advertisement system. However, if it's your favorite YouTuber, the fact that you get to watch also the video without advertisements, without advertisement, means that it changes nothing for you, but it does help me financially because it gets more from the view, because it gets literally no money whatsoever from a normal view because no advertisement, but just because you have YouTube Premium, he also makes money out of YouTube thanks to that video. So it's something for him. If it's your favorite YouTuber, maybe that's a good argument. Will you update to Ubuntu 22.04? I'm already on 22.04, I think. Should be in info. No, not this one, sorry. Info, help, about, I don't know. Hey Gnome, what version of Gnome am I running? Jammy Jellyfish, this is 22, right? Jammy Jellyfish. Yeah, I'm currently running 22.04. What do you think about libadwaita? Is it too locked down for KDE? I mean, KDE is not using libadwaita. I mean, libadwaita is the only relationship between libadwaita and KDE is the fact that currently KDE does support GTK theming to make GTK apps look like KDE apps, and it might be that with libadwaita that gets removed and GNOME apps will look like GNOME apps even in KDE. When will you move to storing configuration in JSON instead of SVG? The issue is that JSON is much more limiting compared to SVG. Much more. I'll make you an example. Take Oxygen. The Plasma theme Oxygen cannot be implemented with JSON. No way. You need to have SVG for that kind of stuff. Now there is talks about using like CSS, which is still